I despise you. He didn't. And God allowed that to happen. God didn't cause it, He allowed it. And then, the loving wife, some preachers think she was being a heathen, and some think that she was just in love with Job. And that's my take on it. She was saying, please, Job, I've watched you suffer long enough. We've done that to family members. I mean, you watch mom or dad lay there till they shrivel up like a prune or something, and it's just not them anymore. It's just a body. And you say, Lord, I want your will done in their lives, but if you could come quickly, we put it similar to that. But that's all she was doing that day, is say, Job, why don't you just cuss God? You know you'll die then. But she didn't understand that he would die for all eternity, not just for a time. And don't ever try calling your wife a fool. Is that what he called her, I believe? Foolish woman. But yeah, don't try it. I did. Don't do it. Yeah, no. I was trying to get my point across. Job's wife's a fool, but she wouldn't quit swinging that broom long enough. Taking a chance to love something, anything, whatever it may be precious to you. Wes was trying to help me with the military folding of a flag earlier tonight, because I have Brother Wiley's flag that flew from his flagpole the day he died, and Tanya brought it to me, and she had it folded in a square, and she said, here, Mom and them wanted you to have this, because me and Brother Wiley, we was all up on that flag stuff, and him being a veteran and everything. Well, Wes said, why don't you take it out of that holder I've got it in, and let's fold it correctly. Well, what you see in that glass is the pretty stars and the blue background and such. But when you stretch it out and let it hang, it's all tattered and torn on the end, because that's the way it was when Brother Wiley died. And she brought it to me, and I treasure that flag. He liked me for some reason, and I fell in love with him too, just like a lot of you folks. But he said, man, we can't fold this. And I said, well, come on, you was in the military. Well, he done it best he could. It does look better than the way I had it. But my point being is, you take a chance on anything or anybody that you ever loved. And here comes Hebrews, 10:25? It's a no, yeah. 9:27. It's appointed unto man once to die, after this the judgment. So you see, when these folks have been married 20, 30, 40, 50 years and God calls one home, I can't imagine the void that must be there. I mean, y'all have done actually grown up together and loved each other for so many years. And then to try to maneuver through this world without him, I can't imagine the challenge and the pain that must be there. But God said, loving something is risky, and we'll walk away from God to protect ourselves. Now, can you believe that? I don't, those of us that are saved, we know we fell in love with God because He accepted this old part of a man, and He loves me, and I love Him. But people today will use the excuse that, look, I got in church one day and I was on every position and committee, and then somebody done something. Well, where was your love? Was it in God or was it in people, you know? Because I guarantee you, before I die, I will disappoint. Not just one person, but a bunch of people. And it's not intentional, it's just human. But folks will not get in love with God because they love themselves too much. Yeah, I want what I want. Let God want what He wants. If there is a God, the way a lot of people think. God was moved to the deepest sorrows when He heard the conversation of, I don't love God because I'm just going to be defeated or hurt or scarred or what have you. And what we forget, folks, is we need to handle this. How did I write it? We need to follow our heart, you know, because after all, that's all God sees. He doesn't see the mistakes we make with a wrong word or blowing our top and getting in folks' face. And, you know, he sees it and he knows about it, but he's wanting to see what the heart is doing in that period of time. Are you feeling sorry? Are you feeling, you wish you had never opened your mouth? And, so just follow your heart. If God lays something on your heart, and you think, there's no way I can do that, that's the truth. A lot of things that God wants from us, we can't do, but He will supply. He will qualify us. He will prepare us. Because, I mean, look at where we are with the Lord. If you're saved by God's grace, you had to learn the hard way what it meant to live for Jesus. And then you had to guard your step, because you could just step out of line, fall by the wayside, get lost in the garden in just a matter of seconds. And we've got to stay. Let your heart be your guide, because that's where God lives. God, once Adam and Eve had dropped the ball, and once they had sinned against God, our God began to move. He wasn't going to leave that situation unattended, because He was, once that sin has done entered the world, He's got to send someone now that can redeem us, redeem our ancestors, teach them redemption. That's when He moved the worship, if you would, into Jesus' court. And He said, son, I will, Dad. He didn't even have to finish the question, I'm sure. I'm going to need you, I'm going. I'll be glad to go. And that's the way God wants us. You know how those track stars, somebody will raise the little pistol or something, and they all down there on that board. And how they get up from there, I'll never know. But when that gun sounds, they all take off like rockets. You see, God wants us ready, set. And when He says go, we need to come off of that standing on the promises and sitting on the premises and just having a nonchalant life and everything's going good. He wants us ready to move. He knows what we can do. He won't give you something you can't do. If He does, He'll do it for you or with you, but He won't desert you. God sent Jesus. And in 30 years, growing up from a baby to a toddler to an adolescent to a teenager, on and on and on. In those 30 years, he was getting the gospel out. He was explaining to some of those pharaohs or those whiz kids in the tabernacle and in the temple, and it says he taught and he was taught. You see, those men were smart, but they had a lot of this law and that law and my law and his law, and he tried to keep them on the straight and narrow. And then the last 3 years of his life, 33 years old, he preached the gospel from city to city to city. And he never idled. He never stopped for any Disney World or a race at the racetrack or something. It must be about the business. And I know my time's running out. And we should be the same way. I mean, I don't care if you're 31 now, 32. Yeah, you look like it. And whether you're 32 or 70, it don't matter. God wants us ready. And he'll give a 32-year-old what a 32-year-old can handle physically and spiritually. And he'll give the older folks what they need and what they can move with and grow and nurture. Well, when he left this world, you remember, even after all the years of his apostles following him, and he's preparing them for that day. He said, I want to tell you that one day, these certain men are going to grab me physically, and they're going to lay me on a cross at some point, and I'm going to die physically on this earth. Oh, no, you're not as long as I'm alive. They were acting like, the Incredible Hulk or something, Don't you worry. They won't get within arm's length of you. And when they come gunning, they backed away. Well, old Peter, remember, he denied that he even knew the Lord. But then when he died on the cross, I think before he took his last breath, them disciples had vanished like roaches when a light comes on them. They just took off. They found caves, they found rocks, they got under them, they got in them, whatever they had to do, because their thought process was, if they killed the Messiah, we don't stand a chance. And even today, they killed the Messiah, folks, and we still don't stand a chance of preaching the gospel and surviving, because the old body has begun to die. I mean, it began to die the day we were born, but it's getting closer and closer to that death here on earth. And so we must be, work for the night is coming. I believe that's a song, when man works no more. When Jesus hung on that cross, they brought the cross down with Jesus on it, and I don't know if they just let it fall to the ground, or if Zacchaeus, not Zacchaeus, but Nicodemus and Joseph, I don't know if they walked it down to where it wasn't no big hit, but God's whole point was, this cross is the bridge that'll get us from this sin-sick world into heaven. We've got to cross the bridge. We've got to walk that straight and narrow. And it just symbolizes a bridge over the great gulf that the Bible talks about, and the pit of fire, and the hellfire, and all of these things. That is the only way out, spiritually, to live eternally with the Lord. And I'm thankful that he laid that bridge down. I'm thankful he laid there on that cross until he died physically. And I'm so thankful that he rose again. And that he's back in heaven just 40-some days later, and telling God all about his journey. And then one day God's gonna tell him, son, go get my children. And that's what we go on, you know? Any comments, corrections? Anything anybody want to share? Pray for Travis and Hunter tomorrow. They're going to see Caleb, knows that, in Liberty. He can have visitors, I think, for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But they're gonna make the journey. Miss Mary's class, and I think Miss Connie's class, are writing letters tonight to send to him. And they will go through the front office and they will read everything before it gets to him, but that's just procedure. But I plan to go see him one day. I think Travis is bringing in some Sunday school books, new and used, or new and old, but it'll be new to him. So pray for Caleb. Only God knows what his future holds. And Melissa's right there with him. She can only see him every Thursday as well, right now. So keep that family in your prayers. That's not something they're gonna wake up from one morning and realize it never happened. That's every day of her life until the Lord takes her home. Let's stand if you would, please. Brother Travis, would you dismiss us, please?
Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here just to fellowship in your name.
Yes.
Give us the strength to take on the day that we had and take on the day tomorrow. Give us